Hello, basketball fans. It's me, DC, and I'm here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer to help you get ready for Week 14 of the Fantasy Basketball season. We're going to break down the schedule by looking at defensive opponents, pace, and everything we do every week. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you're in the playoff position or still threatening to get after it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pace and defensive efficiency. We do this every week, but there's no big surprises here because when we're this far into the season, things have pretty much settled. It takes a lot for big movements, especially because there haven't been any groundbreaking trades that have shifted anything. So the top usual opponents we want to attack: Sacramento, Washington, Minnesota, New Orleans, Portland. Houston, Chicago, Brooklyn are still on that edge. They're above 108, but they're still, it's right in that grouping that we'd expect. Brooklyn's defense is seeming to be a little bit better, so you're not as eager, but they still play up in pace along with Chicago and Houston. Houston's defense isn't good. So there's enough to attack there. I don't want to belabor it. Down at the bottom, New York, Lakers, Phoenix, Miami, Utah. No big shocks. What stood out to me, I guess, was that Cleveland's pace has dropped back down to where they were at the start of the season. And at the start of the season, Cleveland was down here in the bottom five, and we were like, oh, not a good matchup. Not great at defense, but they're just playing well. Now their pace is really slowed down, 99.5. You can see the big red box. But they're still just not great, and so it's not affecting, dragging them down. You're not afraid of them as a matchup. Let's take this and apply it to the schedule. As we look at the schedule, there's no standout teams this week, right? No one's got 5 games. No one's got a lowly 2 games. So we're pretty much okay. There's 12 teams playing 3 games, which means 18 plays 4, if I can do my math. So as always, you prefer 4 games because you prefer more games. But with it close to an even split, if you got to play someone with 3 games in a weekly lock league, it's not as disadvantaged as it could be because about half the leagues are playing at that. But we still want more games. If you're looking for particular teams to attack, you're trying to grab some waivers or something, I would check out options from Utah. They get Chicago and Brooklyn to start the week, which feels pretty good. And then Memphis is middle of the pack, but there's no one deflating their value. Houston, not only because we always talk about there being waiver options, because there's such an, we'll say, interesting rotation there with Houston. There's a lot of people that you could probably pick up and play for the week. So they've got 4 games, and they end the week with back-to-back Minnesota games. So that can be really interesting for both the Minnesota or Houston side, because both of those are teams you like to attack, and they're going against each other on back-to-back. That's pretty good. That allows me to bring up the news. Just make a note that Malik Beasley's 12-game suspension for non-basketball activities, he's eligible to come back March 27th. So I believe that's the Saturday against Houston. So if you've been playing guys in that absence, their value might be deflated. We'll have to track that Minnesota rotation. So take a look at that. And then while I'm talking about NBA news, why don't we just mention to make sure everyone knows, PJ Tucker was traded to the Bucks. I don't think he's going to have a ton of fantasy value. I think his only fantasy impact would be that he's probably going to deflate Bobby Portis's value. And Portis has been ancillary, worth owning, play him in matchups and stuff like that. If you knew Giannis was going to be out, play him. So I don't really think this has a big injury, but if you had Portis and you were rocking with him, I would look for a little depression. I think it's a better basketball move for the playoffs. For the Bucks, they've been toying with the switching scheme, having him to run extra small ball and do some more switching. I think it might help them in the playoffs, make it more interesting. Does it, are they at number 2 behind Brooklyn with Philly? Is Philly still there? It depends on how you view the schedule, but I think it probably has more basketball impact. And then Ariza went to the Heat. I'm not really looking to pick up Ariza. Myers Leonard's in name only in OKC. I don't even think he's going to be reporting there, so I wouldn't worry about any of that. Those are the only trades so far. We're less than a week out from the trade deadline. If the NBA has any big news, I'll probably jump in and do an extra video and stuff. Let's go ahead and look at back-to-backs for week 14. Here's all the back-to-backs, which obviously can be nice for your daily streaming leagues. You pick up one guy and play him for a back-to-back, but for the weekly leagues, it could be a real bummer. And that's normally what I focus on for running through these, because we're going to talk about streaming in a second. So the teams that regularly sit people on a back-to-back. Let's start top, Boston, with Kemba, who usually sits. They actually have 2 back-to-backs. It doesn't look like it, but Memphis is the second leg of a back-to-back to start the week. And then Milwaukee, OKC. So you might get less games. I'd be really cautious there. Houston's got the same situation. They come in with a back-to-back. Toronto's the second leg of it. And then there's that Minnesota doubleheader, which you'd like the Minnesota doubleheader if they're both playing. But if you're not going to get the Depot, Wall, if they're all resting, you're going to get kind of screwed. It is going to be a great opportunity for daily change leagues and DFS to pick up people that are going to get extra minutes in a soft matchup. That's going to be fun to attack on Friday or Saturday, depending on how they do the rotation. but we're a week away from that, so I don't know more than you know. We'll have to track this as it gets closer. The Clippers, they've got one back-to-back. Lakers, they got one back-to-back, but they're not really resting people. I mean, they don't have enough pieces to do it. They actually have a pretty good schedule overall. OKC has one back-to-back, kind of. Minnesota coming in is the second leg of a back-to-back, and they only play 3 games. So if you've got like Horford, who doesn't play the back-to-backs, he's probably only got 2 games this week. You probably can't use him. Horford's been a disappointment to me all season, and this just makes it worse. And Washington, they only play 3 games, no back-to-backs. Don't have to worry about the Wizards. Let's look at streaming. So for our daily change streaming, the big thing is opportunity. Can you get guys in the lineup? So the games played this week are 8, 6, 11, 5, 11, 9, 4. So Tuesday with 6, Thursday with 5, and Sunday with 4 are the ways you want to attack it. Really, Sunday with 4 gives you that chance in your daily change league when you kind of know what you're down, especially in categories league, to boost up. And in points league, you always just want to get extra points. So I went off the idea of if you're going to try and only make so many moves, you want to make sure you're getting guys you can play on Sunday, since there's only 8 teams playing in those 4 games, right? And then branch out from there who might be interesting. Now, there are exceptions, like at the bottom, Washington plays the Knicks twice on 2 low-volume days, but you don't love the Knicks matchup. I mean, they're fine, but they just play at a slower pace and stuff. And they don't play on that final day. So you could do, like, try and pick up Denny or someone if you want to play them for those early matchups and then flip to someone else, but something you're going to want to factor. So I highlighted that set, right? I think the most advantageous here is Denver. They get 4 games, and they play Orlando and Atlanta on 2 of the low-volume days. So you'd like to see that. The Lakers, once again, but unfortunately the Lakers don't have a ton of people you can pick up. You know, I've got Kuz still in a league that I played because he had the 5-game week last week. If it was a daily change league, rolling him back out there would help, but it's actually a weekly lock, so it doesn't really help me here. But those are where you're going to want to look to attack, I think. Orlando's got decent ones, but it's Denver and the Lakers. You're not pumped about the Lakers, but I'll take any game on a low-volume day if you're just trying to pump up those minutes, right? The number one stat in fantasy basketball is how many minutes played, because that's the opportunity we're going to get. That should get you loose, ready for week 14. I'll be back tomorrow with the waiver wire. We'll break down a lot more options. Leave any questions, comments, anything you got down below. While I have you here, before I let you go, I'm wearing my Yacht Possum shirt. If you don't get this reference, it's from a different YouTube channel I'm producer on, Harris Football, which I will link to right here. So we mostly cover, it's all NFL and fantasy football stuff. We've started working on our NFL draft scouting. We're breaking down the college game tape, actually showing you plays, talking about guys' skills. So if you're into the NFL at all, I think they're pretty cool and worth checking out. We're doing 2 prospects a week. If you want to check it out, if you don't know the channel, go check it out. We're having some fun over there. If not, no big deal. Thanks for watching. Get ready for week 14 to go out and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.